I'm Jim Phillips. I've been teaching Greek here 14 years at this church. And I've been teaching Greek almost 40 years. And I was in a Greek class taking Greek for 9 years. And I took 6 years of Hebrew. And I have basically formed my ministry around the Bible in the original languages, from Greek and Hebrew. I translated all the New Testament and wrote a commentary. You have one on the book of Romans. I've done the book of Revelation, the Gospel of John, 1st, 2nd, 3rd John, Jude, Ephesians, Colossians, and Galatians, Philippians, 1st and 2nd Peter, and the book of James. And all of those in class here. If you'll stick with the class on Greek. How many of you know any Greek? Anybody know Greek? Nareni si Philemo? No? Uk? Uk me unavia? I teach Greek by induction. I taught Greek grammar for a long time and I just hated it. And like I had 3 years of Greek grammar. And actually, let's see, I had 3 years of Greek grammar. I had 6 years of advanced reading and research. What you're in tonight is advanced reading and research in Greek. Now, don't let that scare you at all. You're in advanced reading and research. You will learn some Hebrew, because I'll tell you some Hebrew words and the equivalence of it and what they mean and the idea of the action of the verbs and everything. We're going to learn Greek as we study the Bible. The only reason why I learned Greek and Hebrew is because the Bible is written in Greek and Hebrew. That's it. That's the reason. I wouldn't have even had anything to do with it otherwise. But I think since the original languages and the Bible is inspired in those languages, I think if you want to look at the inspired Word of God, you're not going to do it in English. You're going to have to go back to Hebrew and Greek. And the original languages shed a lot of light on the translations. Tremendous amount of light. These girls here, we went through the first 11 chapters of the book of Genesis in Hebrew. You learned something, didn't you? I don't know whether you learned any Hebrew or not, but I think you learned the language a little bit. The meanings of the words and the action of the verbs and everything else is just absolutely tremendous. Let's have a word of prayer before we get into this a little further. Tonight is an introduction. I don't have enough of the interlinears to go around. They didn't quite do enough of them. Brother Steve, would you mind leading us in prayer, brother?
Father, thank you for this day and the opportunity to come to you and study your word. Thank you for your presence. Pray that you open our hearts and minds for what we are doing. Pray that you please help structure the help them say it in a way that we would be understanding it. So it's kind of get to Jesus' name.
Amen. Now, we have 2 websites up. We have from 50 to 150,000 people. Go to those websites a month. We are the favorite classes of the Marines at Camp Pendleton. They are loading us up. What?
That's wonderful.
Yeah, I tell you, that is the most wonderful thing that the chaplain's down there, and he said, I give them all these other people, all the CDs and stuff, and they never come back. He said, I give them your classes. They said, when they get ready to go to Iraq or Iran, they said, load it up with Dr. Phillips. Load it up.
Good. I'm glad to see him.
So, anyway, that's really good. DiscoverTheWord.com is our main website. You have one out of them. I teach a Sunday school class here on Sunday morning at 9:15 to about 10:45. I give you a long time there. My classes are long. Not because of me, but because of the students. You got one. They don't want to quit. I try to just give you everything I can give you at what time I've got to do it.
We usually ask for more.
I know. You don't. I said, you ready to quit? And he said, not yet.
No.
Let's go some more. We're going to study Greek by induction. You're going to learn Greek just simply because you're reading it every week. Okay? Marilyn, when she started in Greek, I think it was 12 years ago now, She's a scholar. She can pick up the Greek Bible and just read it. Did you ever study Greek at home? You ever pick up a Greek Bible at home? No. She can read Greek. After about, I tell the classes, if you'll stay in the class for 3 years, I used to teach 12 months a year. I said, you stay in the class 3 years, all of a sudden you're going to wake up one day and you can read Greek. And you don't know what happened. How did I do this? You can just take the Greek Bible and read it. That's the painless way of learning Greek. I'm going to tell you something. That's good. When you go and you memorize all the endings, oase, omene, usiane, and one, and all of that. You know, in Greek there's 8 cases: nominative, genitive, obligative, locative, instrumental, dative, accusative, vocative, and there's all kinds of verbs and participles, and every one of them they're inflected, so you know who it's talking to right off the bat.
No mistaking.
No mistaking. You can pull out one word out of a Greek sentence and you can pretty much tell what's going on, because it's all inflected. And German is inflected, young man. You found that out. The endings. Even Spanish. How many of you know Spanish? Anybody know Spanish? Spanish is an inflected language. Spanish, of course, came from Latin. Latin came from Greek. So all of it is, basically the Greek language is the father or the mother of all Western languages. If you can read Greek, you could probably pick up a little bit of Russian and read it. We got a Russian coming in here pretty soon, I think. Rebecca. And when you learn Greek, you've pretty much got a handle on all the Western languages if you just look at it. All of your medical terms are Greek. All of your legal terms are Latin. Okay? I'll teach you about a lot of different things as we go along. When we come to Greek words, we'll bring it into the modern language and how much of it came into the English language. All right? Now, we're going to study the book of Romans, which is one of the most fabulous books in the Bible. Every doctrine in the Bible is in the book of Romans. Okay? In the Old and the New Testament, it's all right there. Our classes go on the internet. Next week, you'll be on there. And all the different classes, if you go up to discovertheword.com, and you'll see it, there's a lot of stuff on there. There's more stuff under Sermon of the Week and the Auto Bible Study Directory. If you go on that, you'll get it. And there's another web page that says sermonaudio.com/DTW. If you go to that one, you'll see all of the classes and about 100 books that I've written. So you'll see all of those. All of the books in the New Testament I wrote an interlinear on. It's about 10,000 pages altogether. And I've done quite a little bit of the Old Testament in Hebrew too. I'm still working on it. But I love it. I love the original languages, and I hope that I can kind of rub that off on you a little bit. It's not impossible to learn those languages. You can do it just by being exposed to it. By being exposed to it. I brought a bunch of books tonight. My daughter says, "Why are you bringing all these books then?" Well, that little grammar that I gave to you right there, almost everything in this big book right here is in that little book. Believe it or not. This has a lot of explanation in it. This is a grammar of the Greek New Testament in the light of historical research by Archibald Thomas Robertson, which is one of my grandfather teachers. He taught my teacher. It's the most fabulous grammar, and it's big, as you can see. It's a monstrous book. All right? I'm going to repeat and repeat and repeat things. Ace. Ace.
You jumped me.
All right. Ace. 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 If you look it up in that Analytical Greek Lexicon right there, it's on page 119. All right?
Yeah, we can't see that.
Yeah, well, no. Let me look. All right. And what's the Hebrew equivalent to ace? Et. Et. All right, et and eight. That one, you can look that one up in Brown, Riker, and Briggs on page 84, by the way. If you get the idea of the grammar, okay? I picked out the word ace, for instance. Okay, that's a preposition. All right, a little Greek preposition. The Hebrew equivalent, of course, is et. If you look at in the Hebrew Bible, it says Barashith bara Elohim et hashemayim ve'et ha'aretz in the first Genesis 1:1, and there's two ets in there. The et is showing that there's force and power going to something. In here, we pros romaes. Okay, it tells you here this is accusative plural to the Romans. The ending on there tells you that. The ending of it. Okay? This is a preposition also, page 346, that one's on. All right? And that grammar. This is the best analytical Greek lexicon that I know of in existence. It's by Zondervan. It was printed in the 70s. You can only buy it used. I don't know of anything that's better than this. It's an analytical Greek lexicon. It breaks down every Greek word as you see it in your New Testament, your Greek New Testament, and it tells you what part of speech it is, what verb it is, or whatever it is, and you can just look at it. All right? And you can pick this up if you learn. Now, Greek is a whole lot like English. Hebrew is backwards and upside down, okay? But Greek is so much like English. Our English came from Greek. You know, alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, zeta, theta, iota, kappa, alpha, moon, sigma, omicron, pi, rho, sigma, tau, upsilon, phi, chi, psi, omega. Okay? It's like our ABC. And you don't have to learn that. But if you want to, you can. The alphabet is in that Greek grammar. The one thing I want you to do for homework this week is I want you to read the first two stories in that little Greek grammar. If you read the first two stories in that Greek grammar, you'll learn more about the Greek language and the history of the Bible than most pastors know. All right? And there's two little short stories. Okay? It tells you the history of the Bible, and it tells you the history of the Greek language and how it evolved. This is a analytical Greek lexicon. All right, now I have about a wall 4 foot wide and about this tall with books all the way down just on Greek at home. Just gobs of them. I couldn't bring all of them here tonight to show you, but I want to just introduce you to it. This is an analytical Greek lexicon. How many of you heard of Thayer's? Thayer's Greek lexicon. Thayer's is not an analytical Greek lexicon. By the way, all lexicographers make mistakes. Did you know that? They do. And I will show you one or two. All right? Over the years. Brother John, you've got some place. Have you got some place to set down? Anyway, this is Thayer's Greek lexicon. It breaks the words down and tells you the etymology or the history of the Greek words. Okay? I'm going to do that as we go. This is the way the Greek language was originally written. It's called uncials. It's all capitals run together with no breaks in it at all. This was one of the first Greek texts I ever got. If you look in there, I separated every word. That's how I learned Greek, was with the uncials. When I went into the Middle East and an archaeological deal, I was the reader in 1975 and 76. But that's what Greek looked like. It's not like in your modern Greek text. You can pass that around if you want to look at it. That's the way Greek was originally written. Codex Sinaiticus, Alexandrius, and Vaticanus are written like that. All of the old Greek.
And Jim, we're not reading backwards this time.
No, we're reading normal, right to left. Okay? This is not backwards. The last time you took class, I was reading backwards. All right. Now, you can find, this is a whole Greek Bible. This is the Old Testament and the New Testament. This has a Septuagint in it. And it has the Greek Old Testament, that's the Septuagint. And then it has the New Testament.